Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Friday, and all of today's guests are brought to you by our friends at the Bayside Oceanfront Resort. Escape to the Bayside Oceanfront Resort, the ideal mid-island destination for a relaxing weekend getaway. Enjoy comfortable accommodations, ocean views, and exceptional service. Book your stay today at Bayside.ResortParksville.com. Canada in overtime over the U.S. 3-2. Canada wins the inaugural, maybe the only Four Nations face-off. Thomas Drance, after the game was over, and he's standing by, as I mentioned, tweeted this out. You got that? There you go. In the final game of this tournament, Team USA was without two of their three top skaters, Hughes and Matthew Tkachuk. And it still took overtime and Bennington being possessed by Dominic Hasek for Canada to eke out a win. We'll be doing this all over again in Milan. And Thomas Drance from The Athletic joins us now. Thomas, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you? Sounds like you were completely unimpressed by what Canada was up to last night.
Debbie Downer. Downer.
Who could be unimpressed by what Canada did last night? This is the magic team. They always find a way to pull it out. But, you know, I don't know. That seems like a perfectly factual recitation of what happened. And in my mind, anyway, when I was sort of composing that tweet, which obviously landed with a thud, I didn't even expect it to be interpreted negatively. So that's on me. I wasn't in full control of my instrument. But yeah, a pile on ensued, people being like, just celebrate. And it's like, I was like, the one thing about me is, you know, I'm only a laundry bro for the Canadian senior men's national team, right? Like I'm my hardened beat writer ways. I've frankly, I don't watch games with any emotional investment whatsoever, unless it's Team Canada's men's team. And last night, I'm a nervous wreck watching the game. I'm pacing in the intermission before the overtime begins. Like that was as thrilling as it gets for me from a fan experiencing hockey perspective. But after it was over, I was sort of thinking about it. And one of the things that I thought really set the stakes for why that win mattered so much for Canada was, you know, look, Team USA has a narrow opportunity, in my view, where the gap between these two teams, where the parity between these two teams is actually quite close, right? Like there's not much separating the Canucks from, the Team Canada from Team USA at this point in you know, this sort of hockey arms race between two nations. And I don't think that's necessarily going to last. Like we're in a stretch right now where 4 of the last 5 first overall picks are Canadian. I expect the next 3 to be Canadian. So we're going to probably go 7 years and 8 with Canadian players drafted first overall. Like hockey's in a really good place, but there's been sort of a small gap where guys like Lafreniere and Byfield and Drysdale and company like haven't hit, where guys like Jack Hughes and Matt Boldy, right, and Jake Sanderson and Brock Faber kind of have as star level players, where Team USA's right there. There is no margin for error between these two teams. And despite that, Team USA still missed what's probably, you know, their best opportunity in 2 decades to actually knock Canada off its perch. And, you know, Milan is going to be another one, but thereafter, I think they're going to be in trouble again. Canada's just developing elite talent, especially Western Canada, by the way, at an unprecedented rate. So that was sort of what I was thinking about and what I was trying to express with that tweet. I was trying to celebrate how great it is that these two countries are on such even footing, and yet Canada still finds a way with the magic in their sweaters to pull it out time and time again. That's what I was trying to get at. I just maybe duffed the formatting of the tweet. I think the problem, gentlemen, was I put here's a hard truth at the top. I think if I'd said, wow, I'm so proud, and then said the exact same thing, people would have interpreted it differently. So that's on me.
All right. I still thought it was Debbie Downer stuff, but whatever.
Oh, yeah, but you never miss a chance to pile on, Mr. Runs with the Herd.
We're all excited.
On your own. How long it take?
Canada.
Excited. Whatever, come on.
So Canada won, and you're going to throw out a Debbie Downer tweet? How stupid is that?
It was a... Well, I didn't intend.
Is that the time to brag about the Americans after a Canadian victory and the whole country, coast to coast, is absolutely going nuts? Come on.
I mean, I don't know. I think is it the win special because it was hard?
We all knew it was going to be hard. The game went to overtime.
What am I
Stop
missing?
it.
Well, okay, I just think you never miss a chance to pile on your buddy Thomas Drance, and usually whenever it's easiest, Rick, you never go out on a limb to join the pile on.
Oh,
it's like, what about the fans?
Well, you
should celebrate. Can't you just celebrate? Rick, come on.
Stop!
Come on.
You piled on me.
A chance to pile on.
You piled on me on Wednesday in our 650 hit, Donnie. You know that. I'm just getting you back.
No one bickers like you and me, buddy.
Okay.
No one bickers like you and me.
You know, it was a stupid tweet, but I still love you. Listen.
I got the tweet wrong. I just want to own that. It was not my best tweet.
It was a dumb tweet. Anyways, Bennington.
No, it was a smart tweet. Composed poorly.
You got reaction. Thomas. That's part of our business.
Do you got we got 6 hours to go over his tweet? Screw the tweet. The tweet. No, okay. Can I ask a question, Thomas?
Please.
Okay, Bennington.
You got 30 seconds.
So much. Okay, are we running out of time, right?
Go.
Okay, Bennington. So much heat on him, and you got to be happy for the guy. He came through. It was so good in the third and overtime.
That overtime is one of the great clutch performances in the history of the Canadian men's national team. I don't know that anyone had that on their bingo card. Tip of the cap to him. He came up huge when Canada needed it most. Frankly, Canada was it looked to me, honestly, as that game went along, like Team USA was taking over. And I think a major reason why Canada got to celebrate with the gold medals around their neck was the clutch showing of the most maligned player on the national team throughout this tournament, Jordan Bennington. Isn't that funny?
All right. I guess we get time for a couple of questions here. Rick Tocchet. I
got lots of Canucks info, so let's go.
Well, okay, let's focus on, before we get to Lankinen, Rick Tocchet. What do you think he learned during this tournament?
Well, he was primarily actually in an offensive role, which on that coaching staff, which I think fans criticizing Rick Tocchet for the dump and chase that the Canucks play might be surprised to learn. One of his primary responsibilities, set plays off of draws. Canada scores the OT winner off of the draw. My flight to Vegas got canceled, so I won't be there till tomorrow, but I'll be excited to get his sort of take on how that play unfolded, how the overtime McDavid winner unfolded, given that it was, off of a play that he was responsible for as part of that coaching staff. In terms of takeaways, one thing that is going to be funny is like Cassidy and Tocchet, co-workers the past 2 weeks, will now face off on Saturday in Vegas, having spent, the last several months exchanging notes on optimal hockey strategy. How much more interesting does that make the games between Vancouver and Vegas, and also between Vegas and Dallas? Vancouver and Dallas, given that Pete DeBoer also was on that coaching staff.
All right, Kevin Lankinen, big news today. Tom is 5 years, $22.5 million, $4.5 million a year. Your thoughts on that deal? And throw in what you think it means for Thatcher Demko.
Yeah, so look, this is where the market is going for 1B goaltenders, right? You look at Lankinen, you look at Joey Decord, you look at Logan Thompson. We're talking about a trio of goaltenders, all between 4.5 and 5.85, all getting at least 5 years of terms, 6 in Thompson's case. Who've basically been like average or slightly above average starters, with very limited track records, and that's just kind of where the market is. So what's significant here is not the amount that Lankinen got paid. This was the price it was going to cost the Canucks once they decided to do it. I think what's really interesting about it is that Jim Rutherford teams across 20 years of cap era management have never really paid their backup, right? Like that's always been an area in which Rutherford has netted cap savings to invest elsewhere on the roster. What does that tell you? Well, I do think it tells you that, the cap's going up, that the club feels like having sturdy goaltending is essential to what they want to do in this transitional phase in the post-Miller era. And, that they thought they could afford it. I do think it hints at, the reality of the uncertainty surrounding Thatcher Demko, but I was checking around this morning and, club sources still believe strongly in Demko as a goaltender and still want him to be in their plans, despite what's been a difficult season for him injury-wise. Just because it's been like that doesn't mean it will be like that going forward, and the club still believes immensely in his talent and what his impact can be when he's regularly available. So it will be fascinating to watch this one unfold. But yeah, Canucks get their guy, they get it done. They liked his character. They wanted to reward him for the fact that, in the organization's view, frankly, he's carried this team through large portions of this season.
Flight issues going to Vegas. Apparently your travel agent saw your tweet. Thanks for this, Thomas.
Oh, there you go.
We appreciate it.
Cheers, guys.
All right.